pleasure and an honor to be here and to speak here and to introduce Flixbus a little bit to you, which I'm going to do. I'm starting with a personal message. So there's a citation, it's travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer. Actually, that's not really true, but I think it's a good example. I don't know who said that, but if you search on the internet, you'll find some references to that. And the personal notice, when I applied, or I was in talks with Daniel Kraus, one of the founders, to become this role I'm in at the moment. It was the second interview or so I was preparing. I was walking down the street, and then on Berlin Alexanderplatz there's one station, and I was walking down the street, and then there were two green buses doing a left turn heading towards me, and that was really that was enlightening a little bit, because how often can you work for a company in our business, in our branch, where you do some cool e-commerce stuff in a company that's really very successful, and then you can touch the product. You can sit in the product. You can go from A to B with the product that you're going to sell. That's really something that's helping me also to have that extra motivation, because this is helping also so many people, like grandmothers and grandfathers, visit their grandchildren. I met a cousin, a far distant cousin of mine. She's living in France, and I didn't know that she's even existing, but she could afford really to visit me in Berlin just because there's Flixbus. This is the thing that is really cool about the product like this one, and but that's not the only thing, of course. And we have here very good colleagues, and it's also an honor for me to work with you, and they will present you also what we're doing in the front end stuff. So I'm going to frame that a little bit, and when I hand over to the next presentation, this will be the connection point where we started, or where we are at the moment in our journey. So going from there, I would like to also give you a very short overview of what Flixbus actually is. Maybe you don't know Flixbus so well. So Flixbus is right now a company that is having more than 1,000 buses, more than 200 connections each day. It's really a massive amount of travelers that we are transporting, like more than 20 million. I think last year it was like 60 million or so. I don't forget the numbers because they are rising so fast and so exponentially. And so we have so many ways, in countries where we are already leading, because we are good in really being there where no one has been before, so to say, or where someone was already but wasn't prepared for our business model. Our business model actually is a little bit like Uber. You cannot really say that, because Uber are private people who have a contract with Uber. What we do is we partner with bus partners, and they have the buses. So we only have one bus, I think two at the moment, that are owned by Flixbus. The others are owned by bus partners, and some have 50 buses, some have only one bus, and they work with us together. So that's like, they brand the bus like we want to have it branded, but we work together with the bus partners because they are our bus partners, and so we emphasize partnership here. So we also secure their existence, so that in case we should do a planning mistake, they are not taking all the risks. So because it's a giving and taking. So this is how it actually works. We have 25 locations right now. We have 3 development locations. We are more than 1,000 people across the world. The most recent project we are starting right now is going to the US. We will have a launch end of May or beginning of June. So, and we had the first trains running in Germany. It's like 3 different tracks that we have, and we are also expanding there, and having all those cool green transportation is really very cool stuff. And this is also our vision. So we want to have green transportation all over the world. And we started with buses, but actually we are already a mobility platform. So if you want to travel more and more people are considering us as a travel platform. This is actually how it started. Three founders. This is Daniel Kraus. He's my boss. He's currently the CIO. You don't see him very often with a shirt. It's maybe including photos and in real, third time I see him with a shirt here. This is Andre. If he would be public, then he would be maybe the CEO. So he has the biggest variety of different departments. So and what you see here are the bus plans, also from the competition. So they used paper to do the planning and to track everything, and also to have project plans. And this is the first investment they had, a printer. And they told me that they had arguments because of that, because they didn't know where and how to spend the money. So this is how it can start. So that's for me also part of the story and being employed at Flixbus, because it's really cool. There are not so many companies that have this success, right? So it's really fun. So, but when I joined, me as being VP for engineering, I saw also this growth period in the software, in the organization, the processes, and we had 3 different locations, and usually if you have startups, they need to respond so quickly on the always changing requirements, and they don't have so much time really to think everything through. So they develop software that is exactly suited for what they need at this moment in time. But when it's starting to be successful and gets more successful, then the software is becoming more monolithical, and it's then becoming a problem as well. But also with having 3 different locations, it is somehow getting slower. So what we did then was to improve the performance again of the whole organization. We started FlixTech Journey. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So the first thing we did was, we called it our HR journey. It was a kickoff, a 2-day event where we flattened the hierarchy completely. So there's everyone in the organization has one hop to Daniel. So going not directly reporting to Daniel, but going through one person and then reporting to Daniel. So it's extremely lean, extremely flat. And we introduced Scrum for all the different teams. We introduced chapters and communities. Chapters are kind of a governance function, or a group of people caring for some special fields of technological interest or products. Then we have started as a next step, because our global vision was to have teams that are really aligned to the business and have the right resources to be independent and can autonomously make decisions. That we thought about the domains that we need, business domains, and then we created different teams with the resources and the size that was really useful for those domains to generate that value. And then we had a huge event that was a team self-design event. So everyone of this organization from all the 3 different locations came together in one location to find themselves in new teams or in the same teams they were before. So we had product owners all over the place explaining the products they owned or own. They had so many chairs for every employee who can join in that team, 1 chair. We had a list with all the required skills for the product that they developed. Everyone who was participating had also a mini CV with all the skills that person has. And then in 3 iterations, we asked the people, okay, now choose your team. And then everyone was running around and choosing 1 chair to be in a team. And that was really cool, because we asked the people, where do you want to work? And they decided by themselves in which team they want to work. We had set the boundaries right, so that everyone knew what is required. And then in the end, after 2.5 iterations, I would say, we have created the new teams. And some teams even haven't changed, because they like the way they were working before. Some teams have lost one. Some teams have a new colleague. Some people even relocated from one city to another because they wanted to change, and we paid for that. So that was really for us a huge commitment for the HR journey, and to have the right people in the right teams. So then we have Flix Ignition, which is like bootstrap our technical landscape for having technically independent teams. So we have, for example, an infrastructure environment that we call FlixOS. FlixOS is just an orchestration of different cloud services, AWS and also Kubernetes on AWS. And the teams are more or less very free to choose whatever technology they want to use in an orchestrated manner. And then we have FlixUI. This is what you will hear today about. And we have also developed a strategy that is for all teams at least a guidance to become more independent. Those teams that are working on the monolith, and we have 11 teams which are really dependent on the monolith, so that's quite a lot. So they need to talk, okay, who owns this table, who owns this entity, who is working in this code, how can we decouple that? So we developed a strategy, it's called self-contained systems, and some kind of examples how to develop from where you are right now to where you want to be. And all of that was to become more independent in the teams. And the dependency is something that slows you down, so that's what we were looking for. In the end, we ended up in the road for independency, so we are currently already, we are there since a year or so, and it's a long road. We don't expect that we will reach our goal very quick, because we also are very business focused, otherwise we would lose our pace. So we continue doing what we have done so far so successful. But of course we need to learn how to do that in a system of systems. This term means that we as an organization, but also technically, we have all those teams and we need to work together in the right way so that we don't have lots of additional costs and stuff that we don't need, otherwise we would slow down. So this system of system thingy is very complex because we need to have the right rules and agreements between the teams and alignments, especially when it comes to UI. Because if you have so many different teams, and the teams, they have ownership for the product. They own it, everything from data to business logic to also the UI level. And they have contact to the end customer. So if they have components that have HTML rendered endpoints, and you want to have consistent user experience, then it's becoming an art, because everything needs to be put together, framed, and also the logic needs to be in place so that the whole experience doesn't break and the functionality also doesn't break. So this is what I wanted to give you as an introduction, where we are, who we are, and how this meetup comes into place. Oh, maybe one word about our collaboration with Ciklum. So it's one of the 3 development locations that we have. And we have, I don't know how many years Flixbus is already working. You know it, maybe?
2015.
13. So 5 years now, almost.
4.5.
4.5 years, okay. So we're working together with Ciklum since 4.5 years. And we have now 3 teams here. And I think it's really great working with those teams, and we continue to do so. It's really one part of our family. So now I would like to hand over to you, the next. Okay, thank you very much. So here's the last. This last.